Hello everyone, welcome to the second QGIS training session. I have chosen to divide the entire training session into 3 videos instead of 2. Actually, this decision aims to minimize the video duration in general, and this can providing you with ample time to absorb and digest the contents. So actually, the second session today will be discussing this particular part, which is related to working with selection of toolbar and attribute tables. Let me show you some of the details quickly. Actually, the video will be split it into 2 parts for this video. The first part will be speaking about what is the selection toolbar feature, working with selection toolbars. We'll cover all the details about it. And the second part will be covering the part related to working with attribute tables, which is very important for the data preparation and also for visualization and so on. And all these kind of points details, I will add the timeline in the video description, so you will be able to directly jump into any of these points whenever you would like to review a single point. So now let's jump into our session. The first part we're going to start today, we are going to discuss about how to use this working with selection or how to use the selection toolbar. If you look in the top right here, we have this kind of, if you hover your mouse here, this is called selection toolbar, the last part here. Okay, let's take it down here. It's consisting of 4 items. We'll go through all of them just to explore what kind of functionality we have it here. So actually, the first part I would like you to know, if you couldn't find this part in your menu toolbar here, you just again, if you remember in the last session, you need to go to the view, then you will go to the toolbars here, you will find something called selection toolbar. So if you unselect this one, now you will not see it. So in case if you couldn't see it, just go to the toolbar and select it again. Make sure to do that, which is selection toolbar. This is one of the most important function as well. Let's take it up in the top right. So now, for example, assume now you have your sites here. Assume you would like to, for example, to select a particular or one site or 2 sites and just take it, for example, a copy from it into Excel file or in any other source. So how you can do that? If, for example, if you're collecting in this map function and you try to select, it will not do anything. So what you need to do is actually need to go for this selection feature. You will click up here. You'll find something called select feature. So for example, here, if I selected this one, now see, if I select it here, it will select nothing because actually this, like whenever you click into your layer, this means your selection will be for this particular layer. So for example, this representing the points, right? So if now I would like to select, I need to select this particular point, right? So this can be done like this, and you can even select more points through clicking left click plus shift. You can even go here and select, for example, left click plus shift. So now you can see it's like being yellow, right? Having a yellow color. This means this already selected. Now, for example, if I zoom in again here, and I selected only 3 sites, for example, 2000, 1000, and 8000. Now, for example, if you click copy, for example, Control C, then you can take this data and you can just use it in any other, for example, Excel file or whatever. But first, let me show you what we are expecting to get if you paste this data in Excel file. If you right click here in this sector addition, just let's you view the data, which you have it here. So I'm expecting to get the data, the same information of this view, table view, into Excel, but only for this particular 3 sites because I only selected this particular. So let's see. So now I selected, as you can see, this is one Excel file. So now if I make again Control C here, see it's selecting only these 3 points, which is 1000, 2000, and 8000. These 3 particular sites. So this is one of the ideas. The first part here we'd like to discuss. Now let's jump into the more selection feature which you have it here. So now now you are selecting this tree. So if you would like to unselect, what can you do? You need to go to the third part here. And this can be select features, deselect feature from all layers or even from the current active layer. The current active layer, which is this one. So I will just click here from all layers. So this now will again back to the blue color. Now assume you would like, for example, to select a particular area. Now assume, for example, you would like to remove this area. I have here 2 coverage layer, which is called coverage layer or coverage points. For example, this one having extra information. This one it's ending here, and this one, for example, having extra information. It's getting up here, and this one is areas higher. So, for example, I would like to edit or manipulate my data. I would like to, for example, having exact same information to have, like, for example, apple to apple. So in this case, I would like to delete some of this particular area. How you can do that? This is also the same. You can see the first same function here. You can just click it. Then you can, for example, make select by polygon or even by radius. So for example, I would like to delete an area. But remember again, if you would like to edit this area, which is called N78, you need to click here on this particular area. So now I'll just click here again. Then I will make select by polygon, for example. Now I start drawing whatever I need to delete this part, for example, this area. So just a polygon selection, and here we go. I just left click, then right click. So you just left click, then the last one should be right click. So now it's being selected. Now, for example, assume you would like to delete this part. You cannot delete, if you remember, until you enable the editing in this area, in this layer. So how you can do that, if you remember from previous session, you can just click here in the top left, toggle editing. So now this is showing, as long as now still editing, you can see there is an X being showing here. So this is explained that you can now start editing this there. So now, for example, if I make delete, now this one is being selected. Now let's delete it. See, now it's saying I just click delete. This says deleting 67 features. So this means it's giving you a warning that you are about to delete this particular thing. So I will say, okay, delete it. So now see, I don't have this information anymore. So now it's like my data is almost the same for both layers. This is also one of the ideas. So this is a current, and you can do the same if you freehand or radius. Freehand just like by the mouse like this. So this is exactly the same function. Now let's just deselect everything again from here, from all layer. Now the second one, it's actually assume, for example, you would like to first of all you use this part. See, this is having more functions. We'll explore it all now. First one is saying select by value. For example, if I click this one, now you can see it's giving you a lot of option over here. It's giving you, for example, you would like to select. See, it's giving me here the information of this coverage points in 78 because I'm selecting this particular area, right? So it will give me all the information which is within this table. For example, if I right click here and make open attribute table. So whatever information will be here in the search, we'll find it in this already. It's being exist. For example, number, longitude, latitude, date and time, and so on. So now let's, for example, click another layer and do the same. For example, this sector, side sector, this one. So I will just click here again and go to the second above here called select feature by value. So I will click this one here. Now, for example, assume you would like to search for a particular site. For example, let's say that you would like to go to specific sector or site. This is the information which you have it for this information, site, cell ID, longitude, latitude. For example, here, this is the site 2000. Let's assume now I would like, for example, to jump or zoom in to this area or select it even. But let's take it one by one. For example, I will give 9000 and assume now I would like to look into, for example, cell ID 0. There is many function here. For example, saying flash feature. Flash means it will give a flash here in red color. If you click this one here, see it's now start flashing. So telling you that this is your area. Now assume you would like to, for example, zoom into this particular one. So if you click zoom feature, see it will zoom to this area. So this is also selection feature also can be using for zoom. Last time I explained another function, another table, but another plugin which can do that. But this one can be done from here as well. So this is also one of the useful function here. Now, for example, you would like only to see the information of this particular 9000 in a table. So if you click here, it will be just opening the information of this one. And if you remember, this is just showing point by point. But if you'd like to see the table from a view, you need to click in the bottom right here in this particular thing. So it will be showing only the information for this 9000 and cell ID 0, which are being highlighted here, whatever you are filtering it. So this is also another function. And there is also for the selection. All of this we didn't speak about the select. For example, you would like to select only this area. So you have this select feature. You need to click here, then say select feature. So it will just select. See, it selected this sector 0 all. So for example, now let's try to take this information. For example, this particular information, for example, this table information, which is 9000 cell ID 0, it will give you, I will just take it as a copy and I just put it in Excel format. It should give you all this information again. So let's try that. Now Control C, I'll just click Control C. Now let's jump into the Excel. So you can see this is the Excel file now. I'll just make here Control V and see what will happen. See, it's giving, let's just extend it. Now I'll just make format here. You can see it's starting from site ID 9000, cell ID 0, and all the other information which you have it. And here is just extra information provided by the QGIS. But this is the original information which I was trying to get. See now after I did. So this is the second function, actually. So now let's close this one now. If you check here, now we have discussed about select by feature, and this, the other one, it's called select all feature. This is if you click it, this means it will select all the sites which have it here. For example, I'm clicking this site sector. Let me zoom out. So if I click this one now, I'm expecting to get this yellow color on all these kind of sector or sites here. So now let's jump again here and select all features. See now it's being selected all. Again, you can just start manipulating, editing, and even copying this information. Okay. And now let's jump in the last part here for this particular select feature by. So now we have by expression. Now let me remove the selection first. This was the third part. The select from all layer. Now assume, for example, I will check this coverage layer here. Assume, for example, you would like to take the information only or highlight only the information for a particular colors or range of this coverage things here. So you would like to give a formula. For example, I will tell him I would like to select only the areas where it's having this value less than minus 74, which is mean minus 74 to tell 104 as an example. So what I need to do in this case, you need to use this selection by expression, which is if you go top above top right here, you have selection feature by expression, and this can be done for anything. And if you open that part, first of all, on the top left here, it will be showing you layer, selected layer, which I'm selecting already, called coverage points and 28, and field and values. This is all the field and values, which I have it over here. And this ranges created, this is the table information of that. This is actually, this ranges created from this one, SS, RSR. So I'll just click this one here, for example. Now, for example, I would just give a formula. I will say if it's less than one, let's say 74, okay? I need to select this one. So if you look into the bottom right here, you have zoom. You can zoom to this area, or you can even select it. So I'm expecting to get yellow color on all the red, orange, and red dots, right? Which is this area and all the orange. So I'll just make again here. See now it's selecting all yellow plus this X, yellow and X because I'm enabling that toggling editing. That's why it's giving you an option. Even you can delete it or whatever you can do in this day. So this is also the meaning of that part. If you also did the same, for example, for remove this editing for now, I'll say discard. For example, if you click in the sector and again into the expression, you can do also based on your own data, for example, by expression. If you look into field and values, it will give you the information of the table under the field and values for this area. We'll speak about the other few of other things later on. So for example, you have this information. I have the site ID. I can also click it. I will say, for example, if this one is less than, for example, let's say 4,000. So now I'll select. See, it's selecting the two sites, which is less than 4,000, for example, which is 1,000 and 2,000. So this is also another function which can be done. The last part, which I would like to show about this one, it's called selection by location. And I will explain this one. This one actually is very important whenever you're working with very big data and you're, for example, they would like to check what is the outlier. So let me jump to the other format which I have it. So discuss another template just to discuss one in more details. So for this particular selection feature, let's explain the last part about it, which is select by value. Actually, select by location, I mean. If we look into the top right here, we have this option, which is called select by location. So if you click this one, for example, now let's see what's showing. It's showing here, for example, which feature you would like to select. For example, assume now I have in my data set here, I have points and polygons, right? You have 4 polygons and some points. Assume, for example, you would like to do something to select the points within this only particular polygon, which is polygon number 3, or this polygon, which is polygon number, for example, 1. Or you would like to select all the points out of these 4 polygons. So how you can do that? You can now make it by select by location. So example here is asking you which feature you would like to select. So for example, I'm saying I would like to select the points within this particular polygon. So this is which I would like to select, which is points. The second one, comparing to which feature, I will tell him, okay, I would like to compare with this particular polygon, which is this one, the orange one, the dark orange. So I will just select here. This will be polygon number 3, which is this one. So what now I'm expecting, once I click run, I'm expecting to get yellow color on all this one, which is being selecting only the points within this particular polygon. So now let's see. See now, yeah, okay. Now it's selecting all the points within this particular polygon. The same concept for the others. You can just change it, and this is like if you're comparing between 2 layers. It can, for example, here I forgot to mention this. This is actually what kind of functionality you would like to do. For example, here I'm saying intersect. So I need to select whatever inside here. Assume now I would like to get the points outside those polygons, which doesn't have any polygon. What you can do that in this case. If you look into that part, this is just comparing to one particular feature, right? Or comparing to one particular area. So now I cannot select all 4. So now this is one of the other features which I'd like to explain to you. It's a processing toolbox. For example, assume that you would like to have a one layer only to merge all these 4 layers. So if you search here into that part, it's called actually, if you search for something called merge, it will be called merge vector layers. And in all cases, this toolbox actually is very, very important. For example, here you can find many functions by here. For that, this things, it will be using many of them later on. For example, here I will just select called merge vector layers. If you click this one now, this is giving you an option to merge all your layers into only one layer. So it's asking you what kind of layers you would like to add. So input layers, I will click here, these 3 dots. So I would like to add my all the polygons, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, just to merge it into only one, to be able to make this kind of filtering to select only the points outside this kind of 4 polygons. So I just run. Once I click run, you will see in the left here, it's created a new layer called merge. Okay, so this merged now is having, for example, let's change the color just to make it more clear. I will just double click, then I'll go symbology, if you remember. Then under that, there is a color. I can just, for example, change it to, let's say, any different color, which is, for example, this green. Okay, now I click apply. See, now it's not appearing here because if you remember, we discussed this part. It's about the layer ordering, so I need to take this one up here. It will overwrite everything here. So now let's click here. And now I would like to select the points outside this particular polygon. So first I need to deselect all features, right? So deselect all layers, features. Now I need again to go and run the last part, which is by location. And this part, for example, I will say I need to select the points, right? From the merged layer, this one. But this time I don't want the intersect, because intersect, this means it will select whatever inside. No, I need to select this join. So I will just run now. Okay, as you can see now, once we click the points on this merged layer and we make this join, it selected all the points outside. So now you can start even doing the editing. If you click, for example, in this points and leave in toggle editing, you will find that it's showing X value here. And you can now start editing or copying or doing whatever you would like to do. And this is also the other last function. And the last point I would like to highlight you, for example, now assume you would like only to export this particular selected area. So what you can do, you just need to go the points here in the bottom left and right click. You have something called export. This is export whenever you would like to save your layers. You have to do this part. So for example, you can just click here and you can see save feature as. Save feature as means this will save the complete feature, which is all the points. Second one, save selected feature as. This means it will only save this one as a new layer. So let's try this one. Now I will call it, for example, here, I will just select the file. Here, I will just call it, for example, selected layer. Okay. So this will be my layer name. So I will just click OK now. This format is just showing what kind of format you would like to have. For example, KML, or you would like XLS, whatever format you would like. So I will keep Geo package, which is working with QGIS for the vector part. So I will just click OK. Now, see, it's now being created here. So let me remove this part and show it to you now that we should see only the points which is outside the polygon now, which is called selected layer, right? Points. I'll take it up here. See, now it's coming as this kind of color. Let's change just to make it more clear. Double click here, left click. Then, for example, change it into this kind of formatting, which is this one, for example, this one. So this was the last function about the select feature. So now let's go to the part 2. Thank you. Hi, let's continue now with part 2, which will be mainly about working with attribute tables. As you can see in the top right here, this will be covering all the details as we mentioned in the introduction of this video. So initially, actually, the working with attribute table, this is actually the main idea that whenever you need to do any modification for your existing data or going changing or making special calculation and so on. So let me show you an example. First, how to open this kind of attribute. There is in the top right here, as you can see, something called attribute toolbar. We can take this down here. It's having many options, as you can see. This one, for example, if you click it, so this is showing the information, identify feature. If you click in this one here, it will start showing in the right here that identify results. For example, I click in this particular points because I'm clicking this layer. So giving me that this point, for example, have this kind of information. Same as you did, for example, let's click in this side sector and you click the feature here. So it will give you the information about this particular sector, which is being highlighted by red, as you can see here. So this is the first function about this attribute working. So let's click this one now and go back to our layer. Now, how to check your data or table format. So first, if you look into that, you have something called here open attribute table. So if you click this one, you'll find that it's having multiple options. The first one saying open attribute table, and this contains all the information in the table. And the second part, if you remember in the previous section, we explained about selected feature. So if you are selecting a specific features or a specific area, it will just open the table for those particular area. Then the others is just something like related to the edits. This will be covered during our session now. So now let's open the table and see what we have inside. Once I click in this table now, you can see it's coming in the top right here. Can even make it full screen, but I will just keep it here just to see the screen. Okay, so now let's see what we have. As you can see here, it's opening all the table structure of this particular coverage points in 78. If you click on the others, it will be exactly the same. So now, for example, you can see in the top here, we have many information. This one, first one is toggle editing, in case if you would like to make some editing for this particular table. So if you click into this part, for example, now it's enabling you editing. For example, I can do manual edit for this particular point. I can change it, for example, to 1000 or 2000 or whatever I would like to do. This can be done as something else. And once you click it, you can see it's open another feature as well. For example, here, it's showing add feature. Add feature, actually, if you click it, this is adding additional row, as you can see here. So you can just fill this row with whatever information you would like to have. Here, the rows is coming down because I clicked twice. This two feature. And still, if you click this particular row now, you can delete it from here. As you can see, this feature is coming now. So this is in case, and now it's asking me I'm deleting. So yes, I would like to delete. So let's go back to the table. Now we have the table here. So this is the table format. So this is actually, you need first, if you would like to do any editing in the table, you would like to enable the toggle editing. And once you enable it, enable another feature as well. So moving forward here, actually, let's keep this one open for now. Here, this is the same as we have explained in the selection. In case if you would like to select by expression, for example, you would like to select a specific information here by expression, whatever, as we discussed in the previous session. And this one, if you click, it will select the complete table here, and you can see already in the map it's being highlighted as well. So I will just remove this kind of selection now. Here, if you're moving for one by one, this is just like as a filter. This is if you'd like to do any filtering. And here, for example, if you would like to move some rows into the top or whatever, so you just click it, it will go to the top. And the other here, for example, this is just if you would like to pan into the map, so it will just pan, it will go to this particular area, Now, if you look this one also zoom, this is just, it will zoom to this particular point because I'm clicking here. Same if I did here, it will just zoom to this one. And we already explained this one in the features before. So let me zoom out again here. Okay. Now let's move to the important part actually. The important part, for example, if you would like to organize your column first, for example, you would like to get this RSRP here. Let me disable this one for now. You would like to move this band in the beginning here instead of number. So you can just click here in this organize columns and you can start moving here, for example, to the top and you just click OK. So you sign that this is organization of your table. Now, the most important part here, one of the most important part, it's about if you'd like, for example, to do a special calculation, add a new columns with a criteria or formula. Assume, for example, this particular column which having the values, I would like to add like categorization or legend. For example, if this value is greater than minus 94, I would like to give it like as minus 94 or less than minus 94. I would like to say that's less than minus 94. For example, to use if condition formula to create a new table. Here, this is where this one come into the figure, which is called open field calculator. This is one of the important function of the attribute tables. If you click this one now here, it will open many things for here. You can see now. Here, it's asking you two questions. First, you would like to create a new field. A new field means a new column. And if you would like to update an existing one, for example, you would like to do a update an existing, you click this one here, it will start showing your fields. For example, this is whatever I have. So now I would like, for example, to create a new one. Let's give an example. So for example, here, I would like to create a new one, which is giving a formula here, F formula, for example, which is giving criteria greater than minus 94. It will give me a particular text, less than minus 94, it will give you also a particular text. So what we need to do, just rename this one, for example, call it legend or criteria. Then this one, the field, since I would like to get a text format, so I would like to change it to text. Now, if you look into this, many information on the right, this is like giving you all the optional things which we can do it here in the calculation of this kind of field calculator. So for example, here if you click into this conditional things, it will show you what kind of formula you have. For example, in this case, we'd like to use a formula, right? So here it will explain on the right, and this information on the right, you cannot see it if you didn't click show help. So this is in case you would like to see. So for example, here I will just click F. So now F firma is being created. Now I would like to add my field, which is called RSRP. You can even search it from here directly, and it will give it to you. For example, if you get like this, it will just show it to you, for example, fields and value. And now we know that this is under field and value. So from the example, now I want to go field and value. This is all the information which I have in the table. So I'll just double click this one here. Now I would like to say if it's less than, for example, a particular value, I need to get this kind of text. So if you didn't, you need to go to the operators, right? In the operators, you will find all the information, which is some of them is being covered here in the bottom left here. So for example, I would like to say if it's less than a particular value, for example, let's say minus 94. Okay. So if you click a comma here, see now again, let's click comma. It's asking me, okay, what is kind of result you would like if you got minus 94? So I'll say just give me the same, which is called minus 94. Let's see what we have. And remember, you just need to give, if you would like to get a name, you need to give this kind of comma formatting. So this is what I would like to get. I will make another comma here. If false, I will like to get like this. So I will just say, I would like this one to be greater than minus 94. Now I'll just close my brackets. So let's see now. I'm expecting to get this kind of legend, new column here. And it's giving you a preview. If this one is not working, for example, give null or whatever. So this means our formula is working. So let's apply and see what will. See now I have got this now new column here, which is called legend actually. So now to confirm that part, just to verify quickly, for example, we say if minus 94, so this is actually greater than minus 94, so that's why it's coming as minus 94. So let's sort this one like this. You can sort it, you can see this one because I sorted on the top, it will come all the time here. So for example, this one, it's minus 94 and this one is greater minus 94. See, so this means we are working fine. Now this is open calculator field. It's actually very important, very good. Like when like as we mentioned, and you have everything here. I have you all the information. If you would like to get it, just click here and explore this part. You'll have many things. And I advise you, in case if you would like to get a specific formula, you can just use ChatGPT. It can help you to get whatever you're looking for. Just one more point. In case, for example, assume that you would like to modify this formula or remove it, which having additional column here. In this case, you need to go to the layer which you created, which is called coverage points and 78. Right click here. And this is also very important information. Properties. Okay. Once you click it here, see, now you have many information here. This is all the information about this kind of coverage and 78. But this one information, which I would like to click it, it's called manage fields. If you click into this manage fields, actually, you can see you have some options here. It's editable. Now, if I click editable, so this means I can, for example, delete. I don't want this one. But you cannot delete the existing, especially if this table is not something like vector saved layer. Just some points you have it here. So, for example, here I can now click and delete this one, or you can even go, there's a formula here. This one you can see, and click it, and you can start even modifying from here as well. And by the way, assume that in some stages now you would like to change your column names, or you change the current type of the columns. For example, you would like in the beginning to change this one instead of decimal to text or whatever. So in the normal case scenario, if you have this layer being saved as a vector layer and is imported, for example, this side polygons, I will show you an example now. You can just edit here, and you can directly make the edit here. You can directly change the legend name, for example, to any other name, or you can just change the type from here. But in this particular case, where you have it as being drawn here as points, so it's not able to change this information from here. You need to use something in the toolbox, which I'll showing to you now. For example, now assume that you would like to change the kind of the fields from, for example, naming or the types of fields or whatever. So you can see here you have something in this processing toolbox. Let me close this one first. In this processing toolbox, actually you can see, as long as you're working with table, just look into vector table. If you click into the vector table, you'll find a lot of information here. For example, this drop field means if you would like to delete a particular column, so you can use that part. But the main point, it will generate a new layer. And same here. For example, you have rename field. If you would like to rename a particular column, you can use the rename field. And you have something called refactor field. So let's take, for example, this one as an example, refactor field. If you click this one here, see, let's make it a larger screen. See, it's explaining itself, saying this algorithm allows editing the structure of the attribute table of a vector layer. Fields can be modified in their type and name using field map. So here you can directly change the name. This is doing the two jobs. For example, you can change this one to legend like this, and you can change this one instead of text, for example, to make anything else. For example, to make decimal, for example. Okay, so now if you click this one, it will actually output a new layer. It will output a new layer. So if you run, let's run it, you see that you will have something new here. Okay, now you can see, now we have, let's close this one. We have this refactored. It's created as a new table. Let me drag and drop this one again on the top here. This one called refactor. And if you open here properties, and if you'd like to check what kind of information you have, this is in case if you'd like to change the table structure, how to check it. See, now the legend has been changed, and this one changed it to decimal double. Have we changed? So this is also another option. So my advice, in case if you started and you just try to check all the possible changes you would like to do in the table formatting or table structure, do it from here, which you have in the bottom in the vector table here called the refactor. And this refactor can do changing in the type or even the name. So you can use that part and just directly change it before you start working in case to save some time for yourself. So this is also an option if you would like to change the table structure. The next point which I would like to show you is about, like, for example, if you, let's assume now you would like to get the summary of the table, for example, the average for this particular value, which is called RSRP, for example, directly, like you have one option to do that. For example, let's click here in this coverage 78. If you remember in this here, we have this one, we already explained it, which is called Open Field Calculator, which is showing the calculation. And this is about the settings. And this one, for example, saying C, is showing statistical summary. So if I click this one, let's see what we'll get. Here in the top and bottom left here, it's showing you statistics. Okay, if you would like to show this kind of average, so it's asking you which layer you would like to show the kind of averages or values. So here you can just click this one. I selected N78. If I click this one here now, let's see what we'll have. Oh yeah, this is asking me for which field you would like to get. So I would like to get the summary for this particular field, which is called. So if I click this one now, let's take this one in here just to be more visible for us and see what we got here. This is in case if you'd like to get all the information about particular field here. So it's giving you the count, how many samples you have, the sum, the mean, median, and so on and so on. So this is also one of the options we have it in the attribute table. Now, there is another good options which I would like to show you. For example, assume that you would like to make a filter in this table or this map table. Assuming this in 28, I would like only to show the values here to filter out, just to show the values for this minus in the map and even in the table starting from minus 74 till 104. What can you do that here? So in this case, you would like to click here and you have to click right. If you click right click, you will find a filter option. Okay, but before that, let me tell you one hint. If you enable the toggle editing, this filter option will not be available. So make sure to disable the toggle editing before asking for filter. So now if you right click, do the filter. Now again it will ask you to make some query builder. Okay, so now what you would like to do, let's assume now I would like to get all the values which is less than minus 94, right? So I have already one filter here called band N77. For example, this filter, if I click here in this band, this is my fields in the table. I will just say show me sample of this particular table. So this is called N77. So this means this is the value I actually have it here because I followed this. Let's remove this one and see what we have. Now I'll just make test. It return everything we have in this thing, even so you have another band here, for example. If you click here now the sample, see it's showing that this means there is two information here, which is being filtered before N1 and N77. So now let's apply AND condition for field, for example. For example, the first thing I would like to do is to apply a condition where to filter out the table based only in 77 values. So I will just click here, double click, it will show me like this. Then I will say if it's equal, then I'll go to this N77 and just make as well like this. Now I'd like to add another condition to filter out only the samples which is less than minus 74, just to see this kind of orange and red only. So what I can do, I just click here and you have it here in your calculator. And now you won't like to see this, right? This one. Let's say take a sample, for example, here. And I will give an operator here. For example, I would like to take that here. I will just double click again. So, and the operator which I like, it's like this. Assume now, for example, double click in any value, and you can just change it, for example, based on whatever you are looking for. For example, I would like to get it minus 74. So I'll just make a test. Okay. See, now it's filtered out only, as you can see here, only the orange values, which I can see here. For example, let's try to get only the red, which is very small values here. Let's, for example, get it minus 95, for example. So it gives some values here, minus 95. See, now it starts showing only because I make it less than minus 95. It's just showing the red loss. So this is also one of the good options we can do. And you can do multiple filters based on whatever you are looking for. And this is very useful for data visualization as well. So now let me remove this just for our preferences. So now it will return back everything here. So I will click OK. So now let me show the part which I was sharing. This is telling you that you can modify even the name and even the type of your tables without even going through this refactor fields. But this in case if you are importing already a vector file, which is for example this side polygons, which I have it here. So if I click on this one, right click, and I go to properties again here, and I need to look into, for example, here again, which is called manage fields. I would like to look into my information. This is all the information I have it, site, cell ID, and so on. So if I click above here, toggle editing, so now it's giving me more options. I can even add a new field, or I can delete field or whatever. Even though you can, for example, change this now, double click and change it, for example, to code 10. See, now it will be changing, and you can even change the text. So this is actually, it's applicable only whenever you save your layer and import it. This can be applicable to change it, but it's not applicable for the other scenario being shown. And for the other scenario, you can just use this vector table information, which is called refactor fields. You can just do to edit your table information. So now let me show you one more important information. For example, assume you have this, like for example, this side polygon thing. If I get it up here, you can just start seeing it. For example, assume that you have this kind of small polygons which is being created here for each of those sides, and you would like to calculate the area size of these polygons. For example, you would like to do some calculation just to calculate what is the size or the area covered here, what is the size of this area. So in this case, you need to do the same which we have highlighted before, which is, for example, if you go to right click and you make open attribute table, even from here or from the top right, as you mentioned before, and you can go here and you can go again for the exact same option, which is called open field calculator here also. And this is also, by the way, can be done from here as well directly. You can see open field calculator. So for example, let's click this one. Now, for example, if you would like to calculate the area size, for example, you click the area size. So for example, let's call it size or area size. Okay, this is the field. So actually, if you look into these options which have it here, there is one option called geometry. If you click in this geometry, you will find a sign dollar, which is called area. Just click this one here. See, here it's saying return the area of the current feature. So the current feature was being selected, which is called side polygons. It will just calculate this function based on the project units. And this is also one of the points I would like to highlight to you. For example, now I'll click OK. Now I'm expecting to have a new additional column called area size, showing what is the area size for each of those polygons. So I'll just click OK, and let's see what we have. Now let's again go here, open attribute table. I'll just make it, for example, now full screen for now. See now what you have in the right here. This one was not available before in this particular one. So it's just showing here some values. But what is the unit of these values? What is kind of units? Is it square meters? What kind of units we have for the area? And here where it's come, if you would like to change or check what is the map unit for the area size, for example, you need to go to the settings above here and click options. And then under the options, actually, you have this kind of called map tools. Under the map tools, here you can see many information. You have preferred area units. So now it's the settings at square meters. So you can even change it, do it as based on your needs, and just change it. So this now means that my table attributes here, which I have it in this one, for the area size here, this means it's based on the square meter. So this is actually giving me now the units as well. The last part I would like to highlight for you, for example, assume now you have two different data tables where you would like to join them, or for example, you would like to make view lookup from one table to another to get some particular information. So how you can do that? Actually, there is one function here called, if you right click here and you go to the properties, or even you can double click, you'll find one function called, if you extend this one here, you'll find called join. This is working as a VLOOKUP, or to join two tables, for example. So now let me upload one or two information tables which can help us in this regard. So now let's go above here. If you remember, to upload the tables or new information, you can just layer and then add layer. See, there is two types of adding information, right? Usually the most common, it's XLS, which is using add spreadsheet. And if you remember, this one we added through plugin. or through this delimited text layer. I propose and recommend to usually use XLS as much as you can, because there is one limitation for the CSV, that you cannot make toggle editing directly for this function for toggle editing. You need to do some workaround to be able to edit or make edit for the toggle editing for the delimited text layer. So I always suggest to keep using XLS as much as you can. So let's click and upload our data. So now I'll just browse my data. I need, for example, to get this table, two tables. So I will just write this one, for example. This is my site information, and this is lookup table. We'll explore this now. Let's now upload this one. And if you remember, you need to enable the geometry if you'd like to get the longitude and latitude. And already have it here. And here we use the default, which is 426 WGS 9084. Now let's upload the data. And this show fields in the attribute table, just in case if you'd like to show the lat and long. If you don't need it, no problem. So I will just skip it for now. So the first information come called site info here. I'd like to upload the other one, then we can explore both together, which is again from the layer, create layer, add layer, then spreadsheet. Then again, we can go here, go the lookup table. So now let's upload geometry. Here we don't have latitude, longitude, so no problem. We can just keep this one off. Not a big deal. So now we can just upload whatever we have here. Let's see. Now the lookup table coming here, as you can see. So now, for example, let's open the attribute table for this one. So this one, as you can see, it's having site information. You have cell ID, sector ID, bandwidth, and site name. Okay. If you open the other one here, so now we can have even the two tables enabled together. Let me just show you two now. So the table on the right is my lookup table, and the table on the left is the table which is I need to add some information for it. For example, here I have the same information with site ID, cell ID, right? I need now to get the sector ID, bandwidth, and site name into this table. I need to get this information to this. So we need to join the two tables. So you can, if you join it based on 1000, it will not, or one of these fields, it will not be very accurate. So in this case, maybe you need to add another column to have a unique column or unique value to be able to look up the values which you would like to get it. For example, the sector or bandwidth or site name. So now for this example, you can use another function. This is also one of the importance of open field, for example, calculator. So for example, if I click this one on field calculator, now I'd like to use concatenate. For example, I will make a particular field between site ID and cell ID. For example, if you look into this conditional things, okay, it's having a lot of things here, but let's, for example, search for concatenate. See, you have the aggregates. Under the aggregates here, you have this kind of function, which is called, you can see, concatenate. As you can see here, let's search it again. This one, for example, this one here. So I'll just double click this one. Okay. So now I have this one here. It's showing which one you would like to concatenate. So I would like to, for example, get from my fields, I would like to get the site ID. So I'll just search for it directly, site ID. So here we have the site ID. So I would like to get the site ID. Then comma, I would like to get the other one. Actually, this one should use this formula called concat. This one, concat. So this one here. So you get the site ID. Then it's asking you what else you would like to get. Just comma again. Then, for example, I would like to get the cell ID as well, right? Cell ID, which is under the field method. So I'll just click this one. Then I will make like this. Then I will just write code, for example, just whatever name. Now expect to have a new column here. See, now we have a new column, which is coming 1003 and 1004 and so on. We can do the same step here as well. Let's do it. So now it's already calculated as well for this particular table. Now I would like to merge those tables based on this new calculated column, which is called code, because this is a unique value. So now let's close these two tables. So which one you would like to make a join for it? It's called site information, right? So this one, you need to click right click or even double click, double left click directly to open this kind of information. You need now to click in this join option. So in this join option, you can see you have nothing here. So you have in the bottom left here, the plus and minus value. So for example, here, if you would like to add a new join, I would like to add a new join. So now the join layer, which layer would like to join? As you mentioned, we would like to join this, the VLOOKUP, right? VLOOKUP table, correct? Which is, if you click here, if you remember the name, it was called lookup table site information. Okay, now which one do you like to join? I would like to join these fields, which is code and code, right? And now it's giving you information. This is comparing these two together. This is two fields together. Based on that, it will just give you the information. Which fields you would like to join? For example, these three already I have it. So I just need this bandwidth, site, sector, and those only three information, right? This code also, it's already there. So now if I click OK and apply, and now I would like to see what is my table attributes or table fields. I'm expected to get more information. See, now in this fields now, I have these three new columns being added, which is showing this joint value, as you can see here in this one. But now let's look and see what we have in the table itself, table attribute itself. So right click here, or you can get it directly from the top, as we mentioned before. So if you click here now, you can see now we have joined all our information, which we have it site cell ID, and before our information was only tell the radius. So now based on whatever from lookup table, you can see we got this kind of information, which is lookup info, sector ID, and so on, and code. The code was already available, so we got these three columns. So this is actually the function of the merge table, and this is the last part of the table attributes and today video. So next part for next video will be about advanced map, how to work with advanced map. So I hope if you like the contents to press like and share and to subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much and see you next video.